Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. When it comes to XRP, I say have no fear. Or at least I don't have any fear for myself. I don't know. Maybe I should. You guys tell me. I am not the least bit fearful. And in fact, as I continue to monitor what's going on in the world of crypto, and the more I learn in a general sense about finance and crypto markets, the more optimistic and confident I am that despite recent allegedly very scary price action for XRP and broader crypto markets, this thing's going to be absolutely gigantic and result in life-changing wealth for so many people. And I want to highlight a few things that are really just kind of, in some ways, fun food for thought. I got perspective from a couple analysts. And also I'd like to highlight that, something like, well, I'll just show you the headline here. It's from the Daily Huddle. Nearly half of U.S. crypto holders say their investments have performed worse than expected. New studies. So a lot of people that, I don't know, maybe a lot of them jumped into crypto a little bit more recently, and they're like, why don't I have a Lambo yet? Well, maybe you got to be a little bit more patient, but the opportunity's still there. So it's just amazing. And I've long said, like, so many people, like most people, even though the opportunity here, most people are not going to achieve life-changing wealth, and they're doing it to themselves. I mean, yeah, you have to put in a sufficient amount, which, as far as what's a sufficient amount, well, it depends on what your time horizon is. If you put in a ton of money, like a crazy amount of money now, you let the market cycle pop one time, okay, depending on what you put in, maybe that's enough. But not everybody has the ability to do that. So maybe you wait through a couple market cycles. What if it does take a little bit longer? What if it does take more than a year or two? Well, that's certainly reasonable. Kind of depends on when you're jumping in the market too. But either way, the cool thing is, even though I did just say, don't take that too negatively, even though I did say I think most people are not going to have that life-changing wealth, the opportunity's there, and they could if they would just not screw it up for themselves and invest sufficiently. That's my humble opinion. But people are their own worst enemy when it comes to investing. They get, and I understand why. People get scared. They put in their real hard-earned money, and then it looks like it's starting going down on paper effectively anyway, and it's very volatile if you're in the world of crypto. I understand. I do have sympathy for that. I really do. But I kind of joke about it a little bit because, like, we've all felt scared. Like, I've been honest. Like, in the past, I felt scared. The last time I was scared about markets dropping was August 2018. Eventually just clicked, and I was like, yeah, this is stupid. I already know the logic. And then I just stopped feeling stuff. But I get it. I have felt that, too, in the past. But emotions are stupid, so I just don't have them anymore anyway. That's my joke anyway. But before going further, there's plenty to cover here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. XRP, as I record this, at 33 cents, though, within the last 24 hours, did get as low as 32 cents. Bitcoin at $20,349, but within the last 24 hours, it did get as low as $19,615. People were freaking out because the $20,000 level, that is a psychological level, obviously. And it's also, at this point, holding up, at least so far, as major support compared to the previous all-time high from the previous market cycle when Bitcoin hit almost $20,000. So far, anyway, it's holding as support. So maybe it drops down a hair low or whatever it is, but still, man, it seems like the vast majority of damage that will occur has either already occurred or we're so damn close, it just doesn't functionally matter. But the market cap for the asset class still up a little over $1 trillion. Bitcoin dominance at 38.29%. And the crypto fear and greed index, those poor lovable cuddly little lemmings out there, I do feel sympathy for you, but you're in extreme fear. At 23 out of 100 on the crypto fear and greed index. But you know what that fear gets you? It gets you making irrational decisions, important financial decisions based on emotion. That's not good. You need to use logic and data. You need to chill out a little bit here. Take a look at this tweet from an account named Rizzo on Twitter, who shared the following. Fun fact, 12 years ago today, someone sold 30,000 Bitcoin for 3 cents each. Ouch. Somebody a little bit. I'll tell you what, had I known about Bitcoin that long ago, I would have been the same person. So I would have been like, okay, I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is stupid magic internet money, but I just would have put it in and let it ride. Like, I'm holding almost 30 different cryptocurrencies, and my attitude is, yeah, there's actually a reasonable chance that since I am going to ride so long that some of them actually go to zero, but I think that some are going to pop off before then I'm going to be able to get mine, you know what I'm saying? But I'm the type where I'm just like, I just want the exposure. So even if it goes to zero, I can live with that. I want the exposure because I think some of this is really going to pan out, if not all of it. I mean, and mind you, I say that I think most of the cryptos I hold will go to zero. When I say work out for me effectively, I'm saying get to a point where they're worth enough where I'm enticed to sell them before they one day go to zero, because most of them are crap. Most of them are complete crap. That's why I love XRP so much. It's functionally useful. I don't think that's ever going to go to zero. As long as it's functionally useful, unless that changes, fine. But so think about this, 30,000 Bitcoin at 3 cents. You understand that means that this individual sold 30,000 Bitcoin for $900. $900 freaking dollars. You know what that would be worth today at $20,000 even? $600 million. Oh, ouch. Hopefully that person, did good on themselves and ended up hopping back into the space. But man, $600 million. Now, granted, anybody would have sold a big chunk along the way, but just to think, if you imagine if you had yourself at 30,000 Bitcoin at any point in time, even if it wasn't worth a damn thing back then, $900, 600 million. But the reason I want to highlight this is, first of all, it's always interesting to see stuff like that and just think, whoa, wow, that's crazy. But also because I think you're going to be seeing similar stories like this about people that sold XRP at ridiculously low prices, kind of like we're seeing now. If you fast forward, can you imagine another decade from now? Further, because at that point, you understand, the XRP and the XRP ledger will be 2 decades old. It's going to be 20 years old in another 10 years. We're talking about much more substantial adoption in the world of crypto at that point. My gosh, the amount of life-changing wealth that is to be made as a result of this will be staggering, I suspect. And I'm not pretending there's no risk, and I do not know that for sure. And I'm not telling you to go buy or sell or hold anything, but I think about this stuff somewhat frequently. I just I do. That's the reason I'm excited about this every day, because there's real potential here that is that if it pans out the way that we're talking here. And I think so many of us believe this or we wouldn't even be here. I mean, it is life-changing then. The opportunity is absolutely there. And it's such an empowering message because we get to do that for ourselves. The opportunity is there for us if we take it. It's so empowering. The everyday person, like myself and perhaps you listening to this, I mean, some of you are loaded out there already, but like the opportunity is actually there. So where are we going here in the short term? Because what's going to happen? Again, you got to keep your emotions in check. So what's going to happen? Well, I find that being informed of potential scenarios, it helps people. So today, chart analyst Credible Crypto, one of my very favorite analysts out there, tweeted out the following with this chart here. I'll make it full screen for a second here. He said, if your expectation for new lows sub $17,000 is based solely on bear flags, he's talking about chart formation, it's not a very strong argument in my opinion. Without context, it doesn't mean much. Here is a clean bear flag at $10,000. He's talking about Bitcoin, of course. $10,000 that preceded our reversal to $60,000 plus. What else supports new lows besides bear flag? Bitcoin. And so some people responded to that. They're talking about the terrible macro environment, obviously out of control, inflation, all that jazz. You know the story. You're living in the world right now, right? Unless you're listening to this in the future, in which case, future person, what's it like? Leave a comment below. I would like to know. But he then shared, macro is bad this time. Okay. But it was bad then too. Unemployment was at 8% at the time. It's currently 3%. And the pandemic was hitting headlines as we were just entering the early stages of the pandemic. It was panic, doom and gloom to the max. Everyone seems to have forgotten. LOL. Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, if something actually functionally happens that is that horrible and terrifying, maybe it drops further. But even so, that's what I'm saying. Like, you talk about in terms of risk reward. My gosh, I think the potential of the upside, even if we see lower prices first, it makes it worth the risk. I'm just going to sit there and continue to hold. That's just my personal opinion. Then there was this from chart analyst Income Sharks. He said, watch this turn out to mark a local bottom for stocks as we irrationally pump higher now that Powell caused the pain by saying to expect more pain. Never underestimate how irrational markets compete. So he's talking about Fed Chair Jerome Powell, and he had retweeted something from FinTwitch showing that the stock market on August 26th wiped out $1.25 trillion that day. $1.25 trillion. And again, Income Sharks here is pointing out, again, he says, maybe this is a local bottom for stocks as we irrationally pump higher now that Powell caused the pain by saying to expect more pain. Yeah, it sounds about right. It's a reasonable supposition at the least. And then there's this. I'll make this chart full screen also from Income Sharks. He says, Bitcoin back above $20,000. It'd be nice if we could get some $18,000 or $19,000 action to keep lowering my dollar cost average before the October rally. So Income Sharks has been talking about this quite a bit. He believes that there's going to be a midterm rally. He has argued that many times that midterm rallies are the years where there's a midterm election. It happens like clockwork effect. That's his personal perspective. And so he thinks that that's going to happen this year too. So yeah, things are kind of, looks like they're, even if maybe argue, it's chop. Let's just say that, because even if it's trending upwards a bit in general, it's mostly, as he cites here on this chart, summer chop and accumulation. That's pretty much what, but he believes that Bitcoin's going to be worth a way, way, way more by the end of the year. And then there'll probably be some sort of correction after that. It'll be interesting to see. That's going to bring it, even if it does jump back up just to like $35,000, $40,000, that's going to bring a bunch of people back in. Then it'll probably correct back down. A lot of people, though, those people will leave again. Just pay attention the whole time rather than only when it's in euphoria mode, because this is like right now, this time when fewer people are paying attention, like this is the most important time to pay attention as far as I'm concerned. And then there was also this from the Daily Huddle: Bitcoin whale activity wakes up as Bitcoin hovers just around above $20,000 on chain down. And I always love reporting these stories. It's just fact based, and you can see how these people with the crazy money on earth, how they're acting differently than most of the typical retail speculators. Piece reads as follows: Crypto analytics firm Santiment is tracking an increase in the number of whale addresses holding Bitcoin. According to a new post, the data aggregator highlights the uptick in wallets which hold between 100 and 10,000 Bitcoin as a reassuring indicator after the markets tanked last Friday in response to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's statements about the economy. And here's a quote from Santiment: As Bitcoin has danced around $20,000 this weekend, a positive sign is the growth of the amount of key whale addresses. There's a correlation between Bitcoin's price and the amount of addresses holding 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin, and they're up 103 in the past 30 days, end quote. So what does that tell you? More Bitcoin whales suddenly popping into existence? Well, don't forget also, as Bitcoin was approaching all-time highs, the number of Bitcoin whales decreased as they were selling. To the little guys out there who were jumping in just because it was in the news, Bitcoin's in the news, crypto's in the news, everyone's euphoric, as they're buying for some for the first time ever, the whales are happy to sell at that point. Now what's happening? Everybody's fearful. And this is just on-chain data. This is provable on-chain data. They're just buying. And you're going to be afraid now? That's why I started the video by saying, like, when it comes to XRP, have no fear. Doesn't mean there's no risk, but damn. I don't think it makes sense for myself, at least, to have any fear of this, personally. And then there's this from the Daily Huddle. Nearly half of U.S. crypto holders say their investments have performed worse than expected. New study. Close to half of U.S. adults who have ever dabbled in crypto assets say they are disappointed in their investments following the market downturn, according to a Pew Research Center study. The new study finds that 46% of U.S. adults who have used, traded, or invested in crypto assets feel let down, while 15% are satisfied with their investments. So pause. Are you actually surprised about this? That people would feel this way? That's why I'm telling you, like, I think most people are not going to achieve life-changing wealth. They don't know what in the ever loving hell they're doing. They can't control their emotions. They don't have sufficient data to make reasonable decisions. They just jump in, and then when they're not getting Lambo time, like they've been led to believe perhaps that they would in short order, now they're disappointed. And then a lot of the disappointed ones, I wouldn't be surprised if they just exit the market. I mean, some of them would anyway. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like anytime you have a market cycle that ends up with like a euphoric top, there's always going to be some people come in, they get burnt, and then they just leave forever. Some of them will just come back like years later when the market's pumping yet again. But then there are some that just stick around. Like, for instance, I came in right as the euphoria was about to kick off at the end of 2017. I'm one of the guys that just stuck around. I was like so engaged and just so like blown away by because crypto is not what I thought it would be. I didn't know exactly what to expect, admittedly, but what I found, I was very surprised by. The fact that business models could exist because of crypto that otherwise could not exist, and they're better business models. Like, as soon as I realized that, that's my aha moment where I was like, crypto's never going away. But it was a weird time to jump in, in November of 2017. But I am one of the people that decided to stick around because I just found it so engaging. And I had strong conviction that at some point things would turn around and get better. And so for the next year, things just got worse. and then I launched my YouTube channel December 14th, 2018, which is one day away from the bottom, which was December 15th. I didn't know it would end up being that. But it was just like crypto hell for the first year that I was in it, effect after that little blow off top. Well, big blow off top. And but I was always optimistic it was going to get better. And it did. What do you know? Market cycles exist. And there's something to this whole crypto thing, and people are picking up on it. It's amazing. This has never happened in the existence of our species. It's such a cool thing here. So anyway, here's the quote from the article. Among the 16% of U.S. adults who say they have ever invested in, traded, or used a cryptocurrency such as Bitcoin or Ether, 46% report their investments have done worse than they expected, according to a new Pew Research Center survey. By comparison, 15% of these Americans say their investments have done better than they expected, 31% say they have worked out about the same as they expected, and another 8% say they are not sure. End quote. And then they state here on why do they chose to invest in crypto. A majority of the respondents in the study say they view digital assets as possessing various advantages over other investment plays. And here's another quote. Among the 16% of Americans who say they have ever invested in, traded, or used a cryptocurrency, about 3/4 say that a major or minor reason is that they want a different way to invest, 78% of them actually, or that it is a good way to make money, 75% say that. And so actually, I would agree with both of those. It's certainly a different way to invest in. History has shown it's a very good way to make money. Right? But again, for those who are patient is key. Some 54% say at least a minor reason is that they think crypto is easier to get into than other ways to invest. Smaller shares cite being more confident in cryptocurrencies than other investments, which would be 39%, and wanting to be part of a community, 33% said that, as at least a minor reason for investing. And I will say that's a thing that I didn't really realize was the thing when I jumped into crypto. There are a ton of crypto communities that are very tight-knit. The XRP community is gigantic, but I'd still say, by and large, pretty freaking tight-knit. Great group of people. And it's a big enough group that, millions of people, you get a little taste of all God's creatures, as I joke sometimes, but I do mean it. Some people are, in a group that big, there's going to be some bad people, but XRP community is the best community in all of crypto. That's a benefit that I didn't know I'd be experiencing jumping into crypto. That's one more thing. On top of all of this awesomeness in terms of life-changing wealth. It's a blast. But anyway. Opportunities abound, despite the negative downward price action. I'm going to be here. You can always count on me to be here. I ain't going anywhere. As long as you guys are willing to listen to me. But either that, or if crypto actually goes to zero, which is I don't believe for a moment going to happen, I'm going to be here because I firmly believe it's going to be worth way, way, way more in the future. And we're so fortunate to have this opportunity. But even on the scary days, I'm happy to be here because to me this is always fun and engaging even when it's scary. I'm sympathetic that people feel those emotions, but I'm also counting on them doing that because history shows that that's how humans behave, and that's part of my investment thesis is that humans are going to keep behaving like humans, which does mean that they're going to make poor investment decisions and emotional decisions. And I'm just not like that. So I don't have trouble reporting here and happily making YouTube videos because it's my most favoriteest hobby ever, even on the down days. I mean, hell, I just told you I started, coincidentally, at the very bottom of the last bear market, December 14th, 2018, published my first video ever. How about that? I'll go ahead and wrap up here, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.